back to Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is not Monday Quilt Chat. Yes, I'm on the other side of the room like I am for Monday Quilt Chat, but this is Finish It Friday. I can assure you this is what this is. I just didn't have anything on the board that I wanted to put up there. So, did that mean I didn't sew anything this week? Well, what do you think? Of course I sewed stuff this week. If you saw Wednesday's video, I did 10 blocks on our Scrappy Celebration sew along. So if you haven't seen that yet, go over there, watch that. You'll see a little show of those blocks at the end of that. You're welcome to skip to the end if you don't want to see me put the blocks together, but I got those done. And this. Now, I have a little video I'll show you. I didn't say anything in the video. I'll just put some music behind it of me completing this on the long arm. It's not complete. I still need to do the binding. I'll talk about it in a minute. So here's that little video. So yeah, I was working on that all week. I did the majority of that quilt this week. So this turned out so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is so cozy. So cozy. And I used a whole bunch of different white on whites in there. And that's kind of cool. And then I decided I was going to use a very light gray thread. And then at the last minute, I realized I had a thread that was a very little bit on the purpley side, but not really. And I went and looked it up, the name of it, and it was something like Tapestry Taupe. But I swear, the thread itself on the spool looks like a dusty lavender is what I would call it. But I think it turned out okay. When it started stitching out, I was like, oh no, I think that might actually be too dark. But I think it's okay. It definitely is okay on the hearts. Let me get these hearts standing up here so you can see them. So I have it all trimmed, but I don't have the binding on. But I'm going to use this very same thing that I did the border on for the binding. So this is basically what it's going to look like. And this Minky, oh my goodness. And yes, I did put some batting in it. It's just a very cozy quilt. And this taupey gray looks good with the purples. Don't you think? This was some kind, I think it was called Trailing Leaves, and I kind of made it a little bit on the bigger side. It's like a 4-inch tall pattern, but I took it to like an 8.5-inch tall, and I think that gave it just enough fluff. I didn't want it to be very dense because I want it to be a cozy quilt. This is a graduation gift. And since school is starting back, for some people it's already started back, I needed to get this done and get this gifted over to her. I was hoping to get it bound and finished before I made this video, but it just wasn't going to work out today for me to do that. So she'll get it, in the next few days once I get the binding on. So it just feels so good. It feels so good. If you haven't tried Minky backing, please try Minky backing. And it is for long arming, it is one of the most forgiving. I mean, I guess it is on a domestic machine too. It is so forgiving. If you have any tension problems, or, you know, I've had just a tiny tension problem with my back. And it's not my bobbin, it's the top thread. But every time I change my top thread, it messes it up more. I haven't been able to fully figure that out yet. It doesn't look bad what I quilt, even on cotton, but I can tell it needs just a little bit of refinement, and I just can't find it just yet. But it's passable, so I don't know. I need to play around with it some more, I guess. I'm just afraid to get my bobbin messed up. Because once you get a good setting on your bobbin, you just want to keep it there and just work with the top. But working with the top hasn't been helping. So, I don't know. Anyway, I love this. It's so soft. And it hasn't even been washed yet. I'm not going to wash it. I'll let her wash it if she wants to wash it. But, yeah. Oh. Anyway, that's all I've been doing. I did, if you're on Facebook, I did start on the Layer Cake Lily. I haven't got a full block done yet, but you saw I put a piece of a block that I put together on the Facebook group. So I'm going into that right off of this. So yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. But let's go ahead and get into your finishes, because there's quite a few. So we're going to have a nice big show this week. Alright, the first one that I have is from Chris. And I love, Chris, how you staged your quilt for us to see it. Very nice. She says, I finally did something with the Anne of Green Gables fat quarter bundle I bought. I worked on it during No Buy July. I used the free Riley Blake pattern on the Fat Quarter Shop website and modified it on top and bottom so it would be rectangular instead of square. I used flannel backing and quilted it on my domestic sewing embroidery machine using Kimberbell clear blue tiles loop design. Bonus points for remembering to label it. Yes. Thanks for all you do. You are one of the 3 people I watch without fail. Thank you, Chris. Love Anne of Green Gables. Y'all know how I feel about that. And this quilt turned out darling. And I love the quilt pattern you used. Both the piecing pattern and the long arm pattern that you used. And then you've got your little label on there. Adorable. I like how you did the label with a little strip of the purple behind it. Nice touch. I could look at that all day. Beautiful. Tracy sent this in last week, and I don't know if I forgot to show it or I was undecided about showing it, but it's not a quilt. But you might want to see this because it might really motivate you to do something about that sewing room of yours. Some of us have kind of chaotic sewing rooms. I know I do. I have things, a place for things, and the things are in their place, but it's still a little chaotic looking. It's not what I really want it to look like. But here is Tracy's story. She said that her husband went to bingo one day, and 9 hours later she had 2 rooms swapped out. So she swapped out a 1-bedroom into another bedroom that was bigger with her sewing room. And how you did this, Tracy, in 9 hours, I don't know, but it just looks very yummy. I love your shelving systems and how everything has a place there. And then on the other shelving system, there, it looks like you made use of inside of a closet with some shelving. And you've got your, your little comic book boards with the fabric on it. And, I'm thinking about doing that again. I'm kind of tired of these cubes. I got tired of the the comic book boards, and I took all my fabric off the comic book boards. But I have a lot more fabric now. I think I might actually like to see my fabric now instead of putting it away in bins. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I want to do it. Okay, here's one from Sun-Painted Carol. Sun-Dyed Carol. Remember her? She says, "Hi Sherry, I just finished another donation quilt. I made it from black and gray scraps." Well, that's very different from what you normally show us. So this is very interesting. All the black fabric is made from different blacks. It measures 77 by 77. I used a loop-de-loop quilting, so the quilting was done in no time. I keep using my scraps, but they are not going down fast enough for me. I still have a ton of scraps, even though I have made a ton of scrap quilts. I know, I think they just get together at night and reproduce. I hope all is well with you, and once again, I am enjoying your videos. Happy quilting, Carol. Thank you, Carol. We always love to see your projects, and this is very different for you, but who doesn't love a black and white quilt? I know I do. Annie. Now this is quite a feat, what Annie has done here. She says, "Finally finished the piecing on this one. I've been on it about 3 years. It's an English paper piecing from, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It looks like it's Willen Hammerstein's Millefiori quilts. I'm sure I butchered that. Willen Hammerstein, I don't know. Millefiori. Several life events kept me from working on it, but things seem to have settled down for a while, we hope. I believe the name is Wild is the Wind." Okay. "I love EPP and have 2 or 3 going at any given time." Wow. "I worked on this one in waiting room at hospitals at different times and very grateful to have something to keep me busy. It will be quilted sometime this winter." So English paper piecing is where you take small pieces of fabrics and wrap them around a certain cardboard shape, and then you sew them all together, pull the cardboard out or the heavy paper out, and you've got yourself a quilt with all those little pieces. So this is really something else. It is something else. I actually got my EPP out the other day, my hexagons, and I did 3. I was waiting for Mark at his eye doctor appointment, and I took that with me and sat in the car as long as I could in the heat, and then I turned the car on with the air conditioning as long as I could, and that's all I could get done was 3 hexagons are sewn together. Yeah. This is going to take me more than 3 years. I'm pretty sure. So I'm thinking you're doing pretty good, Annie. Thanks for sending that in. Tony. Tony is from Washington State, and she says our community quilting group decided to use up some of our fabric to make a bunch of quilts using the same block. Now you'll see that in the picture where the blocks are on the bed. There's like a whole bunch of there's quilts folded, and then there's some mini quilts. So I'm not sure. I think I counted 10 there. And then on the other side there, you have, let's see, with some of the blocks we made doll blankets. That's what the small ones are. And then she says, after we decided we had enough blocks, I still had a lot of 2.5-inch strips, so started sewing them together randomly in a jelly roll race fashion. Yeah, that's what your other photo is here. It's interesting how the colors and patterns pooled and blended. Yeah, those scraps will surprise you sometime. You can arrange those in a way that you never expected that they would turn out that way. Okay. Very good, Tony. You all are doing a lot of work together there. Danae. She has 2 pictures. One of them I'm not going to show because I'm going to save it. One is our sew along, and she's already done with the entire sew along. I'm not going to show that yet. I'm going to hang on to that, and we're going to have a separate quilt show of our scrappy celebrations. I hope that's okay. I really appreciated seeing it, but I want to hold on to it. I want to save it. Here's the other one. She says, I did a second spring ivy quilt and used the small Lori Holt jelly roll that was in one of the sew sampler boxes. Thought to myself, use dark green for the stems, and I found just enough in my stash. And then she talks about the sew along. So, very good here. I've seen this pattern. Yeah, I think this was, the pattern itself was in the sew sampler, wasn't it? I'm not for sure. But yeah, very good job. Love it. And then Lorena, she says, hello Sherry, I made a quilt for my grandson from his receiving blankets. I had to look twice. When I read that, I was like, you made receiving blankets for your grandson? Or what do you mean you made a quilt for him from his receiving blankets? And then it clicked when I saw the picture. I kept it simple and enjoyed the process. The backing is a lightweight flannel, the same as the binding, and I used polyfill for the batting because I wanted it fluffy for him. I made a long pillow for the edge of the bed that meets the wall, and a regular pillow too. So take a look at this. These are receiving blankets of her grandsons that she has made a bigger quilt out of. Isn't that cool? I didn't know that was, is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing if it is. And then the pillows that you put with it are perfect. That just looks like a big boy bed there, but it's made out of his receiving blankets. How cozy. I love that. Very good idea. And then Colleen has one. Ooh, this is cute. This is a table runner. She says she's getting ready for fall. Pattern is Stars in My Garden by Dragonfly Fiber Art. Love it. And you've got one of those machines that has that wavy stitch. Looks really good. Very fall-y. I love it. Very nice. And then here's one from Giselle. Giselle's the one that had the hand surgery. She says, here's another finish from before the hand surgery, quilted with walking foot in diagonal design. So she did a crosshatch on that. It's a 54 by 76, inspired by Chris O'Neill from Sew the Distance. She's a YouTuber. In early spring, used stash fabric to cut 10-inch squares. This one was challenging to piece, but turned out pretty nice. Pieced backing with extra blocks. She has two pictures of it, and you can see up close there the hourglass design there and her crosshatch. And then on the wall there, she's added some cornerstones. Looks really good. It looks like shirting almost, some of them. Very nice. Shelly sent us in a quilt like this last week that was in blacks, browns, and tans, remember? Well, here she is already with another one. How do you do that? I don't know how you do things so fast. And all that quilting you put on there. I love the colors on this one. I love the other one too, but this one's really, really pretty. Those royal kind of blues and purples, and then the bright acid green. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. And look up close there. She's got some very dense quilting on there. I can see how that's a fast pattern though. That one's really, really pretty. I love it. Okay. That's what we have for this week. So thanks for stopping by and watching the community quilt show, if you will. And we'll be back here on a Monday with Monday Quilt Chat. And then again on Wednesday for some more of our Scrappy Celebrations blocks. And back around to finish it Friday. That's the grind. It's not much of a grind. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? All right, thanks everyone for their great work, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. and hit that notification bell so that you get all 3 videos every week. Alright, have a great weekend. Sew something if you can every day, and we'll be back on Monday.